Hello, welcome to Zigmatech Learning Hub. I will be your instructor for fine art. You can call it visual art as well, cultural and creative art. Now for this class, we are going to be taking our exercises from the ExamGuide app. Now if you don't have this application installed already in your device, I will advise you download this app in order for you to follow along this class. Now, ExamGuide is a leading educational app that helps students prepare adequately for exams, for various exams, such as UTME, post-UTME, WAEC, GCE, KCPE, IJMB, JUPEB, Calbepedia, BECE, JSCE, NCEE, NECO, to mention but a few. You can download the app from our website www.examguide.com, or you can download it as well as using your Google Play Store. Please subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to be updated on new videos as we upload. Now, if you're ready for today's class, okay, let's get started.
All right. Now, welcome back to the part 3 of color theory. You know, still studying cultural and creative art, and for the past few hours we've been talking about color theory, applications of color, definition of color, interpretation of color, the meaning of color, the families of color. So we've talked a lot about that. So in this part 3, we're going to take the end point of it and now summarize everything we've learned so far in color theory. All right, so now let's dive into our slide. Now today we'll be looking at the method of mixing color. The method of mixing color. There are several ways at which you can mix color, but that depends on how and what you want to get. Now you don't just mix colors anyhow. There are ways, there are patterns, there are precepts. Now color mixing is an important aspect of painting and design. A well-prepared layout of rough could be what, or work, sorry, could be messed up when the artists failed to get the color scheme right. Now, knowing the combination to use is not enough, and mixing and then obtaining the right tones is what the very key and important thing that every artist should know. Now, for you to just know your normal color scheme, red plus blue will give you purple, yellow and red will give you orange. That is not enough. Now, for you now to get the skin of a human being, what are the mixture? What are you going to do? Now, these and even more that we are going to check, we are going to look at in the course of the study. So now let's continue. Now, if you watch, you look at the face there. Now, you see, because of the painter or the makeup artist misuse the color. That's why you're getting this grayish, whitish, powdery effect on the lady's face. So that is exactly what your painting will look like when you don't mix your color properly. You start getting this whitish, chalkish effect while painting. So you have to know when and how to mix the colors and the pattern you should use in mixing it. Now, improper use of black and white as neutralizing agents often make an artist's work look dull, chalky, and muddy. That's exactly what I'm trying to explain. Now, for instance, the use of pure black is capable of making a color look very dull, while the color gray, which is achieved by mixing complementary colors, will make such a color look brighter and more lively. Now, it is better you mix this color direct than just adding your direct black, mostly if you're using the poster color. That is where you undergo this kind of challenge. So you should learn how and the pattern on how to mix these colors so that you don't make a mess of yourself, so that you don't create a powderish, this powdery kind of chalky effect like what you're seeing on the screen. Now, to avoid muddy or chalky color by the use of white as the brightening agent, such white should be added to the basic color separately, and then the two tinted primary colors can then be mixed together. Now, what am I trying to say here? Now, what I'm saying here now is, for example, if I want to mix a light tone of well, I just say a light tone of orange, for example. Now, I get my yellow, I mix the yellow with white first, and get the red, mix the red with white first properly, and then you mix the two of them together. Then you see you get what? Your bright orange. You understand? Than mixing your orange and then adding direct white to it. Sometimes it could work depending on the color you're using and the product you're using. There are some products that actually it will reverse, it will bounce back. So for you to be on the safe side, we'll advise you will do what? You mix the white on each of the individual color before what? You mixing both of them together so that you get a civil and evil effect. While I was in school, there is what we call cooking of color. Now we get these colors, we cook them, and we don't use them immediately, because if you use them immediately, at the end of the day, you start seeing a different color. So what we'll do is we cook the color and keep it to settle overnight, and then before we use the following morning to achieve what? Maximum what? Result. So that is one thing you should know while mixing color. Now mixing blue and red and then adding white to it might result to a chalky look appearance, just like what we talked about in the previous words segment. Now mixing too many colors in a painting can also result to what? A chalky look, or a work that is too powderish or not very attractive. It will have this ash kind of effect. Now certain colors serves as what? Neutralizer. And now some of these colors that serves as neutralizers are, you have the gray, you have blue, you have white, and then you have what? Brown. Now those colors, they serve as what? Neutralizer. Now what do I mean by neutralizers? Now for example, if I want to, I want to paint something that I don't want you to really understand the very color, how this color is actually gotten. Now let me give you an example. I'll use this cup for an example. Sorry. I'll use this cup for an example. Now you see this, the red is a bright red. Now maybe I don't know the color grade you're seeing by the screen or whatsoever you're using, because your screen can actually have an effect on it. But you see, it might be looking very bright red in your eyes, but normally this is not a bright red. Now it has a stain of brown in it. So to achieve this, you need what? A stain of brown added to what? To the red to achieve this very color. All right, so that is exactly what I'm trying to explain when you're mixing colors. So whenever you're mixing your colors, you should put all this into what? Consideration. For those of you that will be writing WAEC, in your WAEC practicals, you'll be tested with this. Now if you paint direct, if you're lucky, if your color is a good product, then you might survive it. But some other time, you might paint something else, and then by the time they are submitted, they are taking it to the exam center or the examiners, they are seeing a different thing. And then boom, it will affect your mark. So these are the things you should put into total consideration while mixing your colors. Now, I'm just trying to show you exactly how your painting might look like. You see the painter, how the ground, too many colors, color ions. But it's quite look interesting anyway. So to avoid creating this kind of a painting, a mess, so learn to mix your color properly. All right, so how color gray can be obtained? Now, how can you obtain color gray? Now, color gray is a very beautiful color that I love working with the gray colors. Now, but you can have, to some persons, when you ask them gray, they think it's just ash. Yes, ash is one of the gray colors, but you have several gray. Gray comes in different grades, in different shades, in different tones. So you understand? So today we're going to look at how you can create different kind of grays. Now mixing two complementary colors, you know exactly what complementary color is. I define complementary colors to you. So if you don't know, go back and watch the other videos, the parts 1 and the part 2. So I define what complementary colors are. Now complementary colors, if you mix two complementary colors together, for example, red mixed with green, that is a primary and a secondary color, that will give you a complementary color. I have given you the definition. Now, if you mix red and green, it will give you a neutralized what? Gray. The same thing applies to what? Blue mixed with what? Orange. Use yellow and violet. So that is how you create what? Different shades and different tones of what? Gray colors. Now, the three primary colors mixed together can result in gray by neutralizing each other. For example, if you mix red plus blue plus yellow, it will give you a neutralized what? Grayish, darkish, black. It is not really black, but kind of very close to black. You understand? So it will give you that kind of tone. Same thing applies to if you mix three secondary colors that is being mixed together, will give you a neutralized gray color. Each of them will produce what? A gray tone. Like the violet, green, and orange will give you a gray. Now adding black to some white will also give you what? Now gray. These are different ways which you can actually create gray. Now black mixed with any other color produces what? Gray. That's one thing you should know. black mixed with what? Any other color. If you mix black with any other color, it kills it straight up to give you, you know, a kind of neutralized gray. Now, black mixed to yellow will give you a neutralized yellow. The same thing, blacks mixed with red will give you brownish red, or you can call it brown. You understand? So this is exactly what I'm trying to show you now. If you mix the yellow with your magenta and then your blue, boom, to give you a grayish color. So anyhow you play with any of these colors in this wheel will create the gray color. So now let's see how you can actually make other powder the kind of gray. Mixing blue and white will give you powder or sky blue. If you mix blue and black, you get navy blue. If you mix red and white, you get pink. Now, pink, we regard pink is really not a color. We call it, it falls under what, the gray family. You understand? So if you mix red and orange, it will give you what? Tangerine. And then if you mix red and purple, it will give you your turkey red. You have your green mixed with black, it will give you forest green. You have your orange mixed with purple, it will give you what? Brown. If you have your purple mixed with white, it will give you lavender. If you have your brown mixed with white, it will give you what? Tan. Now, if you have yellow mixed with orange, it will give you what? The golden yellow. I would want you to practice all this. Get a poster color and start mixing. So you see these colors and then you know them for yourself. Now, in your mixture, make sure you mix them in equal proportion. I hope I'm not too fast. Come on, even if I'm too fast, just try as much as possible to follow me. You understand? So let's go. Now, if you mix your yellow and orange, it will give you what's golden yellow. So you try as much as possible to practice this yourself so you get used and acclimatized to what? The mixture of what? Colors. All right. So now let's continue. All right, so I just gave you a simple example on how you can mix these colors. You see the mixture of this blue to red is giving you this grayish color. So these are the ways you can actually produce some of all these colors. Now, by the time you do your practicals at home, you use your watercolor, you get this kind of effect in your cardboard paper. All right, so now let's proceed. Now, the importance of color. So now we're going to look at what some of the importance of what? Of color. We're looking at the screen. You're thirsty, right? You can relate to those stuffs. All right, now what are the importance of color? Color makes objects to be what's easily noticed and colorful. You know, a colorful package product attracts easily. For example, if you get a product that is not attractive, if the design, you know, the color used, they are not interested, you will not long to have it. For example, let's look at the Coke. The Coke design, very simple and classy. It stands out anytime, any day. The same thing applies to what? Several drinks. That's why I choose to use the drinks. Because when looking at the bottle, even if you're in the car, and the car, you just feel this, man, I want this. So that's because of what? The creative ingenuity of what? The artists that made these things. You know, they took their time to merge colors together and then design the bottle in such a way that it is appealing to the eyes. So color makes what object to be easily what noticed and what appealing to the eyes. A carefully what packaged product attracts the eyes easily. So put this at the back of your mind. If you're designing for children, the choices of kids are quite different from the choices of what? The adults. So you should also put that in your consideration whenever you're making any design. Now, if you are a baby, you want to design for, or if you're making a design for babies, we don't expect you to start using colors like gray, to start using, you know, all these unrecognized colors. They won't find it funny. You understand? So if you're designing for babies, you use bright colors like orange, yellow, they want to see green, they want to see purple, you know, they want to see the primary colors and the secondary colors because they can relate to those colors easily. You can't be using colors like tan and then expect them to, you know, but using all these direct colors that are easily identified, you know, will actually communicate with the kids. So that is one thing, that is one importance of what? Color. It relates to people. Okay. Now let's look at the next one. Now, color gives identity to organization. Boom. For example, whenever you see yellow, what comes to mind? MTN. Everywhere you go. So when you see green, what comes to mind? Glow. Rule your world. Okay. When you see red, what comes to mind? Did I hear you say Airtel? You're very correct. So that's the same thing. So color gives what? Recognition and identity to what? To organization. Some organization holds onto certain colors for their what? Corporate what? Identity. That is exactly what I'm trying to explain here. That MTN holds yellow for their identity. Glow holds what? Green for their identity. All right. If I should ask you, Facebook holds which color for their identity? Come on, you don't even need to, it's not something you just, as long as you hear the word Facebook, what comes to mind? Blue, straight up comes to mind, because that is the color of what? The identity. So color gives identity to every organization. All right, so now these are several organizations we have here on the screen. We have the Five Alive, we have the Spirit and the Sprite, we have the Coca-Cola, we have the Fanta, we have the Oasis, to mention but a few. All these are different products and they what represent themselves with what? A particular color. Okay, now let's look at color, what its effect on our environment. Now, color makes our environment to be what? Attractive. And you recognize your environment when it is colorful. Now, if you're traveling from Port Harcourt down to Aba, when you climb all the bridges we have in Port Harcourt, you see they're painted in blue and white. Then as soon as you crescent down to Abia State and then you meet the first bridge in Abia State, you notice, I'm talking for those of us in Nigeria now that have actually traveled that route, you notice that the bridge now is being painted with black and yellow. Now that is for Abia State. While in Port Harcourt, you see, now if you go down to other states, they have their own designs. Some states, they have their own choices of color. So we use these colors to differentiate places. You understand? And then it makes a state or a city stand out. It makes the environment look very beautiful and attractive. You want to stay there. Now, if you look at the two images you have on the screen, you see this one is beautiful, colorfully well painted with your sky blue. Everywhere is looking very calm and attractive. Than this other one that is just gray. All right, now let's look at another city. Now imagine, look at the city. How colorful and interesting this place look. Nowhere you stand and take a picture in this city that will not come out very loud and sound. So that is the effect of what? Of color. Now color makes our environment very what? Attractive and beautiful. So that is one thing, some of the importance of color. So how many importance of color have we mentioned? I've mentioned now 3 importance. 1, it makes our environment attractive and beautiful. Now, the impact of color can never be overemphasized. You can go on and on and on and on and on to explain the importance of color. Now, color gives identity to products. I said that color makes a city interesting. Color gives, makes objects or things attractive. To mention what? But a few. So these are the importance of color. You can actually dig out, you can actually source out some other importance of color. It creates varieties. It creates rooms for what? For varieties. So you're not stuck with one thing. You understand? That is why you see some places, I like pink, I like yellow, I like green, so every individual have their love and have their flair for each and every what? Color. They have their choices of what? Color. All right. So now let's move and then see the families of color. Now, color and their family. Now, to every color, it has what? Its family. Just as to every animal, they have what? The family. Like if you're talking about, for your biology, you have the cat family. And when you're talking about the cat family, you make references to what? To your we call it, is it pussycat? You talk about the tiger, you talk about the lion. Now, all these, they fall under what? The cat family. The same thing applies what? To the color. Now, under color, for the color blue, you have the blue family. For the color red, you have the red family. For the color yellow, you have the yellow family. Green, you have the green family. So just like that. So every color, it has its what? Its family. Now let's take them one after the other. Let's look at the first 6 colors, which is the primary colors, and the primary and the secondary color. Now the first one is what? Blue. Now whenever you see the blue, in the family of blue, we have the what? Cerulean blue. We have the Princeton blue. We have the sky blue, we have the cobalt blue, we have the royal blue, we have the navy blue. Now all these are what? The blue family. They fall under the blue family. If you're talking about the red, you see the magenta, you have the crimson red, we have the maroon red, we have the the carmine red, to mention but if you have even the cadmium red. Now all these are what? The different kinds of what? Red that falls under the red family. The same thing applies to the yellow. We have the yellow ochre, we have the lemon yellow, we have the cadmium yellow, we have the Indian yellow. So all this falls under. Don't worry, I'm going to show you a picture that broke them down in different what? In different sections. Now, if talking about the green, we have the green emerald green, we have the viridian green, we have the sap green, we have the lime green, to mention but a few. Now all these are what? The green family. Okay, let's see. The purple, we have the cobalt rose. For orange, we have the burge, we have the cadmium orange. For black, we have the lamp black, we have the jet black, we have the ivory black. For gray, we have the paint gray. To mention but for brown, we have the raw, the umber, we have the burnt cyan, we have the sapphire, we have the raw cyan. So for white, we have the titanium white, and we have the what? Common white. Now, all these are what? The families for each color. Now, you see, for orange, you see how it goes down, it crescends down. The same thing applies to yellow orange, down it crescends, down to yellow, crescends down, yellow green. Now, from this yellow down to red orange, they fall under the same family. You can classify them as what? Relatives. The same thing, in fact, you can even, now for the red too, the same thing applies to the red too. They run down. So you see, for the green, the same thing. All right. So this is what a perfect example of what the color family. They are related. They are together. They are nice. They work in harmony. You understand? They relate together. You understand? So that is perfect example of what the color family. Now let's look at the color interpretations. Now bear in mind, color signify diverse meaning to different people of the world. How a color reflects on one individual is different from what it means to another individual. Now, what a color means to me is a whole lot different from what it means to somebody else. To somebody else, a black is beauty, is bold, black is bright, black is audacious. To somebody else, why to somebody else, black is danger, black is devilish, black is annoying, black is, you understand? So what it means to this individual differs from what it means to these other individuals. Now this now explains what the different interpretations of what color. Now color interpretations have strong bindings on what religion. Now to some religion they don't like black. Black means mourning. Why to some is white. White means what? Mourning. Now you tie color to what? Religion, emotion, and what? Family history, or what? Which is called the hereditary. So this are the interpretations. We are going to look at the key interpretations of some of these colors, the universal interpretation anyway, because to everything that has a meaning have a universal meaning, you understand? So not minding what it means to this person, there is a pot, what I call it, a spot of balance. You understand? So that is exactly what we are going to look at now, and then see each of this color, their meaning and what they stand for. Okay, let's dive into it. Now, the colors and their general what meaning. For white, we say white is light. White is grief. You see, white is mourning. But to some persons, they'll say white is purity. How then will you now relate purity and grieving and mourning together? Excitement to some other persons. You see? Now, so, but however, in the course of this study, we are seeing white as light, white as grief, white as what? Mourning. Now, for black, black signifies what? Sorrow. It also means grieving and what? Mourning. Now you see, white and black, and they're even sharing the same. But to me, white is bold. White is audacious. Sorry, black is bold. Black is audacious. White is pure. White is bright. White is light. You understand? That is to me. Now, for some other persons, let's look at red. Red is aggression. Red is charity. Red is bravery, red is boldness, and red is courageous. That is for red. What about blue? Blue is truth. Blue is serenity. Blue is love. You understand? Someone say, why is blue love? It's not red that's supposed to be love. But you see? But blue is love. Because it's calm. Blue is cool. Blue is peaceful. Blue is rest. I'm adding more definitions now to blue. Now, what about orange? Orange is sunlight. Orange is perseverance. Orange is energy. Talking about purple. Purple is royalty. And purple also signifies what? Poverty. You break it down to green. Green signifies what? Hope. It represents growth. It represents nature and nurture. You understand? So it talks about nature and what? Nurture. So that's exactly what green stands for. So let's look at other colors and then see. All right. Now let's see the color chart we have. The black, you see sophistication, power. You see mystery, formality, evil, and death. That's for black. What about gray? Stability, security, strength of character, authority, and what? Maturity. So you see, when I was explaining that if you're making a design for children, you don't use gray colors because they can't relate to it. It's for the matured mind. So you see, gray also represents what? Maturity. Now let's look at purple. Purple stands for royalty, luxury, dignity, wisdom, spirituality, passion, vision, and what? And magic. That is what purple stands for. Talking about yellow. Yellow represents love, joy, represents joy, represents cheerfulness, represents friendliness, represents intelligence, intellect, energy, warmness, caution. You understand? Little wonder, you see some of your caution signs, they paint them what? In yellow. And then we talk about what? The Chaldeans. Now, what about white? White stands for fitness, freshness, hope, goodness, light, purity, cleanliness, simplicity, and what? Coolness. That is what white represents. You're talking about pink. Pink also represents romance, compassion, faithfulness, beauty, love, friendship, and sensitivity. Little wonder girls, they have been attracted to what? To pink, because it looks so romantic, you understand? So compassionate, you understand? Faithful, loving, friendship. So that's what pink represents. Now talking about red. Red stands for danger. See the red flag, danger, danger, danger. The passion talks about daring. Also talks about romance. Little wonder we put red to Valentine. Romance. You understand? Style. Talked about excitement, urgency. You understand? Emergency. And energetic. So these are what red represents. Look at blue. Now blue also represents peace, stability, calmness, confidence, tranquility, sincerity, affection, and what? Integrity. Now listen, all these things we're mentioning, you just have to know them. Because in your exam, they might list, okay, among the following colors represents passion. A, red, blue, B, blue, C. So what do you think is the answer? So if you don't know this, how then, which of the color that stands for what? Passion. I guess purple. Beautiful. So if the answer is, if you pick purple, you're so very correct. So you should need to know the meaning and the interpretation of what? Each color. So whenever you're giving a design, you try to understand to match the design with the colors you're using so that everything will flow together. You can't be making a design for a royalty and then you're using colors like, colors like gray color, blue color. Okay, blue can actually go because blue also represents integrity and royalty, But purple stands out. Gold stands out well for royalty. Okay, let's look at our last color, which is the green. Now, green represents what? Life. Represents growth. Represents environment. It represents healing. It represents money. It represents safety. Red means stop, yellow means ready, green means go. It's safe. Safety. It represents relaxation, and then it represents freshness. You understand? So green represents what? Freshness. So these and even more are the interpretations of what? Color. I hope you've gotten a lot in this section. Are you sure? All right. So now let's look at a brief summary of what we've done so far. So looking at what we've done so far, we've talked about the discovery from our first class. Talked about the discovery of color theory, the definition of color, color pigments, talked about the classes of color. We then talk about the interpretation of color, talk about the meaning of colors, we talked about the color family. We've talked about a lot. I will advise you, take your time, go back, and then see other videos so you get a grip of what color is all about. So having said this, we've done justice to everything that pertains to color. If there is any question you have to ask, I guess maybe when you get to school, don't fail to ask your teacher. Show him the video, Mr. Whoever is your teacher, or Mrs. or Miss. Try to, ask your question, and I'm sure that they will truly be willing to help you, and they will be excited that you did exactly what you did. All right. So thank you very much for staying this long. Now, however, before you go, let's try our hand in some Q&A. Let me ask you some few questions and see how we'll go about it. All right. Now, the first question I want to ask you is what? Define color. Define color. It's a simple question. I've asked you that color over and over again. Now, name 3 colors and their family. Name 3 colors and their family. Did I hear you say red? Okay, under red, how many colors follow under red? Yes, magenta. Pink. Okay. And what again? Horse blood. Beautiful. So these are what? This one color red, but you just mentioned the family. Now you can pick yellow and mention the family of yellow, and then you pick green, mention the family of what? Green. All right. So now let's look at mention 2 interpretation of any 3 color of your choice. Any 3 colors of your choice. Can you pick 3 colors and give me their interpretations? Yes, white, purity, yes, bright and light. Beautiful. So if you mention all that, you're so very correct. Thank you so very much for staying this far with us. Now, before you go, let's try our hands in the exam guide and then see what we have there and how many questions we can answer. And I will advise you to go through it and try your hands in preparation of any of the exams you're about to face. Okay, so we're talking about cultural and creative arts. You get it checked. So we'll pick random and then we'll select and then go to color and color application and then we'll click on OK, and so let's get started. All right, let's try our first question we have here. Question number 1. Which of this is not a property of color? We talked about the properties of color. So we have 3 major properties of color. So among all we are seeing here now, which of these is not a property of color? Number 1, we have the hue. Number 2, we have the chroma. Number 3, we have the chrome. Number 4, we have the value. And number 5, we have what? The intensity. So which of this is not a property of color? If you say hue, you're very wrong. If you say chroma, monochrome, you're correct. Monochrome, you're very correct. Monochrome is not a property of color. It's a kind of painting. It means painting with what? With one color. So intensity, value, and chrome, they are properties of what? Of color. All right. So now let's look at question number 4. That will be our last question for today. Now, neutral colors, we talked about the neutral colors. Now, neutral colors are white and dash. Neutral colors are white and dash. A, purple. B, blue. C, yellow. D, black. And E, orange. So among all of these, which is neutral color? Is it blue? Is it purple? Is it yellow? Is it black? Is it orange? So which one is what? A neutral color. The answer is D, black.
Thank you for participating in today's class. You can practice more questions using the exam guide. Now, the app scores and give a detailed explanation of all the questions at the end of your practice test. Now, you can learn a particular topic of interest with different modes like study mode, mock mode, and practice mode. It also have other features that make learning fun. Now, it is a must-have for all serious students. Download the app from www.examguide.com if you don't have it yet. See you in the next class. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell, and then share this video to anyone you know that would benefit from it. Thank you, and bye-bye.